Hi, I'm Neil Bergman.
And I'm Hayley Bergman. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands of fitness professionals to get qualified, learn with simplicity, and coach clients with confidence.
We're the first to say that learning and being a FitPro doesn't have to be hard work, and that with the right structure, support and resources, you can become a confident and knowledgeable fitness professional that is dedicated to more.
So how do you learn, qualify and kickstart as a FitPro? This is the FitPro Session Podcast with Parallel Coaching.
Getting focused on 2021.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. I'm
This
Neil.
is Neil.
And this is Hayley.
I'm Hayley.
Welcome
Hi.
back. Do you know what? It's been amazing to have just a couple of weeks off from a podcast. So
been nice.
if you're tuning in for the very first time, we did a podcast every single day throughout December 1st through to December 24th. And it was wicked fun. Parallel Advent. There was loads
It
of
was
wicked
good
edits
going,
in
wasn't
there.
it? There was a lot to process.
And
over
now we
24
find
days.
ourselves here in 2021, new year, new you, New Year's resolutions, new goals, maybe same goals.
Maybe same
Okay,
goals.
Maybe. And I feel really refreshed.
It is, and hopefully you listening also feel refreshed. Brand new year. Let's go and make it a brand new outcome. Like let's go and
Completely.
absolutely
And
smash
if you're
the new year.
watching, well, those of you that are listening, you won't obviously see this, but watching, you'll see that actually we've both had haircuts. We're both looking quite trim on screen. It's
We're
quite
looking
nice to
trim.
look on screen and see.
Yeah, it's nice. Because obviously there was no visuals for season 5.
No, completely. So, not that you even care about this, but I hadn't had a haircut since way before lockdown 2. And
You could have seen our Christmas jumpers, the advent calendars, but based on one podcast every single day,
you
we've just
probably
done
would have
audio.
seen Hayley in her onesie, to be honest.
yeah, totally. It was good there wasn't any.
Completely. So we find ourselves here in 2021. It's early January,
Yeah.
and I want to be really inspirational on this one and motivational and give everybody a nice kind of friendly kick up the butt to get hyper focused on 2021.
Yes.
But I feel that we have to talk about the elephant in the room.
The great big pink elephant.
The great big pink elephant
just
in the
standing
room.
in the corner of the room.
We're not talking about you. We're talking about, you guessed it, the coronavirus.
That's the one.
And, well, where do you want to go with this, Hayley?
Well, essentially, it's got in the way of, for a lot of people, in the way of their goals, in the way of what they want. And
Yes.
it's kind of added a lot of uncertainty. It's added a lot of changes continually.
Yeah.
And that goes without saying. Everybody knows it's
Well,
there.
I think first
Everybody
and
knows
foremost,
it's a thing.
I think what we've got to recognise is that this is a health pandemic. Yeah, so at the end of the day, I think if we kind of sit on top of a pink elephant and we understand that this is a health pandemic and actually the severity of this is crazy. Like what's going on around us, what's happened in the last 10 months is
Yeah.
I don't even,
Unfathomable.
yeah, I don't even have a word for it.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. And, I really want to wish every one of you guys listening and people that join us on this journey to stay safe and be well.
Yeah, and
have a healthy new year, I think, first and foremost. I think you've hit the nail on the pink elephant's head. Whoop. Around uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I have this kind of the number of people that have reached out over kind of Christmas and New Year of questioning whether they should get into fitness in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay. Their revision, their studies, their course, their goals.
Whether they should carry on the same path they were doing.
Yeah, and this kind of level of uncertainty is kind of brewing that's leading to, I'm going to say, a deterioration of mental health, anxiety, depression,
And
around people's thoughts, feelings and emotions as we kickstart 2021.
And obviously it's so uncertain that people almost haven't... there's lots of people I've spoken to that have said, well, I've gone, what are your goals for 2021? They go, I don't want to set any because there's so much uncertainty ahead based on the COVID. I don't want to set my goal.
I want to be the first
I don't
to
want
say,
to.
I want to be the first to say, I still want you to set a goal, because if you've not got a goal or something to aim towards, okay, then you've got nothing to hit. You've got to put something in the game in order to hit it.
And
otherwise, sorry to jump in, if you don't set a goal, you've already lost.
And if you know what your end outcome is that you want, regardless, there's a million different ways that you can get to that same outcome. So you then just go, okay, well, this restriction or this recommendation came in. I now need to change how I'm going to get there.
Exactly.
Or it might take a little bit longer. Or now I need to just do it in a different mode to what I ever thought was possible. But there's something new, but I'm still going for the same thing.
Yeah. So something our coach has said to us time and time again is know what you want, know why you want it, know when you want it by.
Yeah, well, they're
Okay.
really clear
And
parts
very-
of setting any goal.
Yeah, completely. And obviously the main thing that's going to change is going to be, when do I get my goal?
Yeah.
I know what I want. I know why I want it, but when do I want it by? My initial goal might be, I don't know, let's take a client's weight loss goal. They might say, well, I'd like to be a particular weight or a particular size or a particular waist circumference, or get, to wear a bikini on the beach. Not me.
You like a bikini.
Do you know what I mean? By summer holiday. So there'd be a very specific date for you go on holiday.
Yeah.
But obviously those dates are now changing.
Nice. There you go, yeah.
But it doesn't change what I want and why I want it. But the when is it possible for this goal
It's
to
going
become
to
to
change.
fruition might change, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
In the same
That
way-
doesn't mean that we don't set the goal of what I want and why I want it. Yeah.
In the same way that if you have a brand new fitness business and you're like, cool, I'm qualified, I'm ready to go and start getting clients, you might just start changing the timescale or even the mode of what
Yeah.
you do. You might be like, well, actually, I originally wanted to go and work in gyms, but I'm in tier 4, it's not going to happen. And then
Completely.
that's changed, and now you've found something else that you like to do, or how you can work online, or how you can work with other people. But it's kind of in a different way, even though you still get your same outcome. And it's so important to know why you're doing it in the first place. If you know your why, you
It
can
doesn't-
go after it.
It doesn't matter
How you get
how you go about it completely. And if you think about the last 10, 12 months inside Parallel, we've got very clear goals individually. We've got very clear goals as a couple. We've
Yeah.
got very clear goals within the business. But how we've gone about those goals, I'm going to be honest, has radically changed, and something that we hadn't considered at the beginning of last year.
Yes.
There was nothing in our kind of like, how are we going to do this back
Yeah.
in January, that we went on to develop 2 courses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it totally wasn't on the
they
plan.
were on the kind of back burner for almost this year, and
Yeah.
yet they came to fruition in, I'm going to say, weeks, days.
Because we
Yeah.
could, because it was another way to get to the goal.
Because we needed to.
They needed to.
Completely. And so we find ourselves here in early 2021. We do not want to go back a year.
One.
Wouldn't it be good to, like, what year would you want to fast forward to?
Ooh, that's
To go past the pink elephant and
maybe
go,
another
I know-
like 3 years,
maybe, I don't
4
know.
years.
Let's not hope it lasts that long. A year.
I don't want to waste away those.
Completely.
Let's just stay
But
as we are.
I really want you to reach out back to us, either inside the inner circle or message us on email. So info@parallel-coaching.com. Did I get it correct?
Yes.
Cool. And I want you to let us know what your goals are. Okay, what are you heading towards in an ideal outcome? And we know that the time frames are going to change. But for the rest of this podcast, I really want you to get hyper focused and real good clarity on what it is you want and why you want it.
Yes.
Because I think if you have your why and you know why you want it, then it doesn't matter what gets thrown at you, whether that be lemons and life, pink elephants.
Hold up.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? But it doesn't matter what gets thrown at you, you stay on track because you've got a very deep understanding and a very clear connection to what it is you want and why you want it. And I think that's why so many people fail at their New Year's resolutions, and so many people don't continue to achieve their goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because deep down, they don't truly understand or know why they want their goal in the first place and why that's important to them. Therefore, it's really hard to commit to something that you don't know what it is you want or why you want it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to have a state of readiness if you don't know what it is you want and why you want it. The level of importance drops down.
Yeah.
Okay, and therefore now you're like, well, there's almost no real point in starting. So there's kind of this half-assed approach at starting.
The action isn't there because the why isn't there.
And therefore you don't build up enough momentum, and before you know it, you're going to
Well, stop.
And actually, we're recording this on the 4th of January.
Yeah.
Okay. And today, statistically, is the day where 85% of the population, okay,
That do a New Year's resolution, basically ditch the New Year's
and
resolution.
they've thrown the towel.
It's gone.
Because they
Gone by now.
didn't know what it is they want or why they want it. So they're setting a very, I'm going to say, woolly
Process usually.
open-ended goal of this year I'd like to lose some weight.
Or I'm quitting chocolate.
This
or
year I'd like to, this year I'd like to read a book. or more books, and it's just not specific enough. There's not enough oomph in there of like, well, why do you want to read the books? How many books do you want to read? What type of books? What's your favourite author? How many books a week? How many pages a day? And the more you get really hyper focused on what it is you want and why you want it and why it's important to you, you're like, oh, on a scale of 1 to 10 on commitment, 10 being hyper committed, I'm a 10, I'm an 11, I'm ready to go.
It's not just an idea, there's so much action in it as well. And I think that's the important bit, being what we call a BHAG. So that your goal is a big, hairy, audacious goal. And this means that it's exciting, but the big part of it is the challenging. Like, it's something that will challenge you and that is longer term enough that you can kind of really get your teeth stuck into. So it's big, it's hairy, it's audacious. I also like the idea that this type of goal is usually something that you probably feel a little bit nervous about telling somebody about, because there's a chance that either you might fail at trying to get it because it's just slightly out of your comfort zone. It's challenging to get there, but also it's an outcome goal. It's not a process goal. So, for example,
can you just define quickly what an outcome goal and a process goal are? Very quickly, differentiate between the two.
Yeah. So this would be an outcome of, for example, of what you want to earn as a fitness professional every single year, for example. It's not about, oh, well, I'm going to have a PT studio or I'm going to work in a gym, because they become a process that gets you to that outcome. And with the great big pink elephant that's in the room, you might have to change the process, change the how. But if your big, hairy, audacious goal is big enough, you get there regardless.
So from a revision perspective, the outcome goal would be to pass confidently and score 90% plus in my exam. And the process would be all of the daily or weekly, monthly actions in order to...
how you're going to study.
Build my confidence and test and learn. Completely. Okay, cool. So and from an outcome goal in fitness would be to... would be personal, and then the process goal is a business. Wicked. I like it. it.
And the more personal you make it, the more exciting it can be to you, because it means something.
That reminds us of, I am not my business and the business is not me. Completely. And so the goal is something that you extrapolate, is that the right word?
Oh, nice.
You extract from the business, or you get from the process of the business. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, as a result of doing this, I get that. And that sometimes is a case of, well, the type of client you might work with, or the passion you had as to why you started in fitness in the first place spurs you on. But really the outcome is, for example, how many of these people you're going to impact and work with. It's not just the fact that you've done a few one-to-ones and with this type of client. It's like, I've actually helped change their world.
So would you say that a lot of FitPros, say from a business perspective, when they set a goal, they say that their outcome would be to work to do a certain amount of sessions or to reach a certain amount of number of clients as the outcome. Whereas what you're saying is that that's the process.
I think that's more of a process.
So
you might get to the financial or the overall number goal.
Completely, of to build a business. Completely. Going back to something you said a minute ago, as a nice little segue back, we've got to bring that word into the 2021, okay? It's been in every episode, almost, completely. It's something you said about like that, making it public and putting your goal out there. And again, I can't remember the stat off the top of my head. I was reading about it about half an hour ago before this, as like our prep to our notes. But today, statistically, January 4th is where most people fail at their New Year's resolutions or their goal. And something I was reading around was this notion of making the goal public, okay, because that helps you put a bit more kind of fear factor, scarcity, skin in the game and skin in the game. So I think a lot of people don't, accountability, that's the key, I suppose, for what I was trying to get to. A lot of people don't make their goal public, because if you were to make your goal public, you've now made that goal, well, you've got to take action.
It's real.
It's got to be real.
It's going to happen.
So by not telling your best mate, your husband, your wife, your kids, your loved ones, your family, your work colleagues, you've got nothing to lose by not taking action. Whereas by saying my outcome goal is this by the end of the year, all of the people you've told are now going to be like, okay, let's wait and see. Okay, they're there kind of like hopefully they're willing you on, but they're also there
in
kind
your
of
head.
like,
they're like, no.
in your head, they're there with their arms
over.
crossed, going, "We'll see about this.
I
Let's
told
wait
you
and
they
see."
wouldn't last.
Completely, and I think that's a very key factor, and something I'm inside for fitness business Kickstarter for January Sprint. We've made it really clear about making our goals public to everybody inside that group. But something we do with our coach, and something we do quite publicly with a number of people in our circle, in our square, in our friends and the people that we know,
like
our network.
Small network.
Trying to get my words out. And I think that's absolutely fundamental, because the moment you let other people know is the moment you're like, well, I've got to take action now. Okay, you've got that external accountability.
Of people, you got eyes on you, people saying like, have you done it? Or they're supporting you, saying, well, actually, like, I noticed that you still had this today, or you still done this today, or you said this was really important to you, but your actions are doing something opposite. So they're there to kind of call you out as well, which I think is great.
Or maybe they don't even say a word for the entire year, and you just believe that they're still watching you.
Which means you can carry on.
Which means that you've got skin in the game for you to continue to take action. And I think that's majority of the case, is that most people couldn't give two hoots. I honestly believe that. Most people you tell give two hoots whether
They're
or
just
not...
still thinking about themselves.
Well, that's it. I'll be honest, like a number of people turn around and tell me their goal, and really, I'm really just focused on my goal. And I don't mean that in a really selfish way. Okay, and people that want accountability, I've got accountability partners and I hold other people accountable. I'll go out of my way to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And they would do vice versa. But people that tell me their goal, I'm like, cool, wicked, that's really nice. And every so often I might just check in and go, and how's it going? Did you do this? I saw you did this on Facebook. It looks like you're making good railroads in.
Yeah, nice.
But actually the accountability, just by making it public, actually is in here, in ourselves. It's almost an external, internal accountability. I believe by making something public that people are watching me and looking in on me. And reality is, they're probably not. They probably give two hoots because they're so focused on the pink elephant in their world.
Yeah. But telling them allows you to think that they are, which allows you to get
enough to get going and keep going.
And also, like, I think some people don't make it public because they can't articulate their goal enough yet.
Yes.
Maybe it's so unclear. They've got this kind of fuzzy feeling of what it is, but they don't really know what it is. And if you can't articulate it, then you don't know if you've got it. You don't know if you're halfway there. You don't know if you're partway there, or are going to get it at all.
So from like, somebody might, a friend of mine said they wanted to read more books this year. And I was like, cool, how many books do you want to read? And I hadn't thought about it. Is this what you mean?
Yeah.
So it would be, okay, so you've got 12 months of a year. Do you want to read one book a month? Okay, that sounds like an achievable, realistic goal. Cool. How many kind of like, what's the rough kind of thickness of this book? Is it a standard kind of like coffee shop book, like an easy read, like grade 3, 4 book? Well, but like a 30,000 word book, or is it more like a real dense book that is going to be a real challenge to do in a month?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it going to be fiction? Is it going to be non-fiction? Do you have a favourite author? Okay, how many times?
So much more detail to it, much more thought.
Yeah, and then you think, well, why do I want to read a book? Well, it's going to allow me to escape life. I'm going to allow to relax a little bit more. I can sedate a little bit more. Why do you want to do that? Well, I feel like I've been incredibly stressed and neglected myself last year. And this year I want to have a bit more kind of self-worth and self-love. So I'm going to choose reading. And I used to love reading.
How will it feel when you achieve your goal?
Well, I'll be able to fully relax every session. So even though I only complete, say, 15, 20 pages one night, I still get that same feeling as if I've completed the whole book, because every time I read, do you see where we're going with this? So what do I get to be, what do I get to have, and what do I get to feel during the process and at the outcome? And now you're like, that's why I want to read the book. That's what I'm going to get from reading the book. I feel motivated already to go and... I feel motivated now, just saying it. It's not even my goal. To go and read the book. Go and get my favourite author out now.
Ready now.
Go straight onto Amazon Prime and download completely. And do you know what I mean? And so the process of setting the goal should feel exciting and get you this kind of like, almost to the end outcome.
It's not surface, it's not fluffy, It's not grey areaed out. And also, some people can see their goal. Like, I spoke to one lady who was literally like, her real goal was to be able to set up like to have enough cash income to be able to set up her own like summer house studio type thing in the garden. She's like, I can see it and I've got like a vision board, but I can't really express it. I can't say what it is. I was like, well, actually it's an income goal. It's not really the goal of this. You're just saying I want to feel comfortable enough that I could do it, because essentially you could go take a loan and do that tomorrow.
You've got to be able to finance this and be able to bankroll it completely.
Yeah, so it was about knowing the lifestyle to get there and the income to get there, and there was much more to it. And I think so, even with clients with weight loss goals or anything else, it's so easy to have a surface level goal.
Well, the surface level goal would be like, I really want to lose.
I want to get fit.
I want to get fit and I want to lose some weight. And you go, well, what's the next question? Well, how much weight do you want to lose? And let's say they want to lose 3 stone. You're like, cool. What do you get by losing 3 stone? Who are you going to be by leaving 3 stone? What are you going to feel by losing 3 stone?
Yeah.
And
what's going to change as a result of achieving it?
And you're like, okay, now those questions allow for that person to explore a world-class answer and inspire them and motivate themselves to go, it was way more than just losing 3 stone.
Yeah, exactly.
It was way more than losing 3 stone, because I get to be somebody with new confidence. I get to stand up in meetings at work or on Zoom and stand there with confidence and project my voice.
Yeah.
It's
about self-worth. It's about working on myself.
I get to go on holiday and take my top off. I get to be able to run around with my kids or my grandchildren or whatever it might be and not be out of breath. There's so much more to losing the 3 stone. Yet we stay with these surface level goals. We don't make them public.
Yeah.
And then we throw in the towel way too quick.
Well, there's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, completely.
The pink elephant just trample all over those.
Completely.
Well, you would, because then there'd just be this problem occur and you don't know that you want it enough. You haven't dived into the depth. You don't really know what that end outcome is. You can't articulate it. And so when that pink elephant comes along, it literally just tramples
completely.
it.
So in order to sit on top of the elephant, sit on top of the elephant, regardless of where it wants to trample, you've got to know what it is you want, why you want it, and very clear, kind of a number of questions deep. What are you going to be once you've got your goal? What is your outcome goal?
Yeah, who do you need to be to get the goal?
Who do you need to be? What type of daily practices do you need to get there?
How are you going to feel when the goal completes?
What are you going to have?
And what will you achieve? What happens when you achieve it?
In spite of the trampling, because we know 2020 is going to be a lot of trampling of this pink elephant. This pink elephant is going to be like trampling.
Here's a weak goal, smashed it. Here's another goal, smashed it.
The objective of let's pause on that one. The objective of the elephant is not to smash your goal.
It feels like
we let the pink elephant in the room destroy our goals because they're not set properly, they're not clear enough.
But if the goal is set properly, you mean, then he can't knock them over.
Well, we can sit on top of the elephant and go for a ride, and it might feel like one of those buckaroo elephant. Do you know what I mean? You know, remember big rodeo. It might feel like that with different tier restrictions inside tier 1 week. Like 2 weeks ago, we were sitting inside of tier 1, and then within 48 hours within that, we were up to a tier 3. Okay, the likelihood is we're going to go to a tier 4 or tier 5. But the very fact that I know that my personal goals, our goals as a couple, our goals as a business and the outcome are so clearly defined. I know what it is we want.
Yeah.
I know why I want it, and I'm going to sit on top of his elephant, and it's going to feel like a buckaroo. I'm going to be thrown left, right, and centre, but I will hold on because I know what it is I want, and I have a very clear understanding of why I want it.
Nice.
Which means, the elephant is trampling around on the life throwing you lemons, but it's not trampling on my goals.
Nice.
And that's the message I want to get across.
Because you can just change how you do it to get a same outcome in a different way.
Completely. So it's not that the elephant is trampling on your goals as such. The elephant is going wherever we want it to go.
Yeah.
But if we're strong enough, with a strong enough goal of going into 2021 with clarity, with focus of our be, have, and our feel, of our outcome goal, we're just going to sit on top of this elephant and have a crazy ride.
Yeah.
And
what
some
a crazy ride it'll be.
And some days it will be tough, and some days it will be easier. Some days it will be incredibly hard, and other days it will be a wicked ride. And that's what a roller coaster is. Like, I don't like roller coasters.
Then you can turn around and say, I actually enjoyed the journey.
Roller coasters.
Yeah, you're not a fan.
No, but I can imagine going up on the roller coaster. There's a point of like, this isn't too bad. And I can imagine like the slight undulations on the Thomas the Tank Train or whatever. You know what I mean?
The log flume.
The log flume aren't too bad. But I can imagine, just as I did go to Alton Towers once and I went on Oblivion.
Nice, there you go.
Yeah, and I can remember going up.
It cranks up.
And it wasn't until you like got to the very top and you're like, oh my God, like,
and it holds you there just a second longer than you should be. Like,
and then the downward, but when you get to the, like that free fall and you start to come back up, you're like, do you know what, that wasn't too bad. And that's what this elephant ride is going to be like, I think, in the next couple of months. Is there's going to be parts where we go, do you know what, this isn't too bad. There's going to be days where we go, do you know what, this is all right, I'm okay. There's going to be other days of like, the world is going to end.
Yes.
And there's going to be other days of complete free fall. Okay, and we're going to want to chuck in the towel. And then there's going to be parts of those days where we start to hit the bottom of this ramp and come back up and you go, do you know what? It's not too bad. Yeah, it's been a crap day or a crap week, but it's not too bad. I'm going to come back up.
Nice.
But you're only going to stay level pegging on the ups more than the downs if your goals are clearly set.
And also, you're only going to get on that roller coaster if you really like the outcome.
Well, yeah, completely.
You're never going to go on the roller coaster if you're like, oh, I do not want to do this. I do not want the outcome enough to make it worth the ups and the downs along the way.
So if you're...
And that's why if you don't really have something you want, then it's just going to get trampled on. You're just going to go with the flow of the stampede.
Yeah, completely. So if you're just getting into fitness, you've only maybe just found us and you're kickstarting your revision, and this is your first kind of dose of parallel coaching and FitPro sessions, welcome. Okay. But for those of you that are returning, and I know there's hundreds of you listening weekly, and in December daily, it was wicked, right? The numbers.
Yeah, really smart.
I really want you to get focused on 2021. I really want you to be able to ride this pink elephant and ride this roller coaster with certainty.
And it's okay if you pick a goal that lasts longer than just a year or shorter than just a year, but you've got to have something that you can keep your eye on that excites you, that makes you a little bit nervous, that's challenging.
Which is part of your BHAG.
Exactly, that just makes you go, that's what I'm after. And it's okay to be able, that full acceptance to say to someone, that's what I'm after.
That's what I'm after.
That's where I'm going.
And it might sound outrageous to your best mate, outrageous to your partner, your mum, your dad, your kids, and they might be like looking at you thinking like, really? If they pull that off, like, fair play. And they might have their doubts, and that's okay. That's their fears that they're projecting because they're not you. That's what makes us human.
What I also love about that is there's so much uncertainty at the moment that when you turn around with certainty and say, that's what I'm after, you've just injected a whole ton of certainty into your world.
Completely.
That just fills you back up and goes, it doesn't matter what happens, I'm getting that.
Completely, I love that.
It doesn't matter how big that elephant is.
How many times have we said to somebody like, this is what we're going to go after, and they look back at you with this kind of like unknowing like scowl of like, really? You're gonna do that? But
I'll believe it when I see it.
I'll believe it when I see it. That type of comment, and we've had plenty of that.
A lot of that.
Yeah? And I have to remember and make note all the time and remain mindful that that's their own fears that they're projecting on me. That doesn't necessarily mean that has to be true for me.
Yes.
Make it public, okay? And regardless of what is given back to you, that's not a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of your goal at all. It's a reflection of the person that is saying it.
Yeah,
of their
that's
world.
not their goal. It's not their why.
That's not their goal. They're allowed to think that it might be crazy. And it might be crazy.
But your results will show up and your results will speak volumes
Completely.
at the end of it.
So maybe, going back to it, I need to backtrack a little bit. You got into this and you are revising and you're thinking, why would I want to revise? I don't feel motivated to revise. I don't feel inspired to revise. Like, I don't even know when my exam's going to be or my attendance days of my course are going to be because we're stuck in tier 4 or tier 5 or whatever tier you're in right now. And there's so much uncertainty of like when or how the course is going to be delivered. And you're like questioning, you're like, should I do any revision? The answer is yes. The answer is right now, go ahead and do it.
Because actually your BHAG, your Big Hairy Audacious Goal, isn't
Hasn't
even just,
changed.
and it's not even just the exam. It's that you wanted to be a FitPro in the first place. It's that you wanted to help a certain type of client. It's that you want to change your job, that you don't want to work for someone anymore. All of those things are your BHAG.
You want to go and help people. You want to go and, you've had a transformation, you've lost a ton of weight or got yourself fit or run a marathon and you're like, do you know what? I want to help other people do the same. And
that's
that's my
changed.
outcome. That's not changed. So should you go and revise today, yes or no, in
Yes.
spite of the elephant trampling?
Yes.
Yes. Don't
Yes.
get trampled. Don't let your revision get like this big elephant footprint on it. Blop. Completely.
I was going to say paw prints. It's definitely not a paw.
Definitely not a paw print. A hoof print. Is it a hoof?
don't
I'm not
know.
too sure.
Someone correct us.
Someone correct us.
Elephant feet.
Elephant feet print. Any footprint. Anyway, it leads me on to think as well, is like we don't need inspirational motivation to do something.
No, you don't need to wait to feel motivated to do it. You just sometimes have to
There's
do it.
so many things in my day that I don't feel motivated to do, but I know that they're part of a process towards my big, hairy, audacious goal.
Yes.
And because I know what I want, I know why I want it, and I know when I want it by, and it's very clear on those questions of who am I going to be, what do I need to become to get that goal, what am I going to have when I get that goal, what am I going to feel along the way when I get that goal, it means I can just go, I'm going to do that mundane task in spite of how I feel in the short term, because in the long term, I get my BHAG.
Yes.
Result.
Even down to like chores around the house or brushing your teeth or doing the washing up. Like they're not things that you go, I feel so motivated to go and brush my teeth right now. You just do it because you know that part of your overall outcome, your big thing that you're focusing on is you being healthy and strong, and over time you're like, cool, as a picture of perfect health, I have nice white teeth. Like it's part of the thing.
Completely.
My breath doesn't stink. Like you've kind of got this overall like goal that you're going for.
It's
So
so
it just
right,
becomes
though.
a thing you do.
Yes.
But to start off with, you might not feel motivated. Like trying to get a 3-year-old to brush their teeth for the first few times, you might be like, they don't understand why they've got
It's
to do
because
it.
they haven't valued the long-term benefit of having healthy teeth. And it's not until as you grow up, that you realise, actually, I only really get one set of teeth, one set of dentures. Like, I need to look after these.
Yeah.
I now value my teeth. I know why I want to value my teeth. I know how long I want to value them for. I want to delay as much dental,
Yeah, I just want to avoid going to the dentist.
Do you know what I mean? And now you're like, I really value my teeth. Like, I know why. And so you go through those actions, even though you don't necessarily have to think about the process or necessarily enjoy the process or have to feel motivated for the process.
There
And
you
the
go.
same thing within
Studies.
within the fitness business. You might go, do you know what? I loathe social media.
Yeah.
Like, I can't stand social media. Like,
Or I don't know what to
I
write,
don't know
or
what
it feels
to write, or it
uncomfortable.
feels uncomfortable. It feels a bit icky, or I don't like face to camera work,
Or don't like
Facebook
sales,
Lives or
or-
sales. And it's like, actually, that's part of the process of getting your big, hairy, audacious goal. You didn't need to feel motivated. You didn't need to feel confident to go live on camera. You didn't need to feel confident to do a sales call. You didn't need to feel confident to do your first live Zoom.
No.
You just know that
The
that's
feeling
part-
almost doesn't matter.
the feeling in the now doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, because you're so focused on what it is you want and why you want it. You're like, that's part of the process. I'm going to have to grow and learn to love and hate it.
I'll do whatever it takes to get to my BHAG.
And that's what Tony Robbins taught us deeply, wasn't it? We do whatever it takes to get to your big, hairy, audacious goal.
Exactly.
Wicked.
I think that was awesome.
Hopefully it's been motivational.
Well, I enjoyed it. I like thinking about the pink elephant and how it was trampling around.
On its feet or toes or hooves or trotters.
But what I really want to know is what people's BHAGs are. What are
Yes.
your big, hairy, audacious goals? Make it something that you feel like, yeah, it is exciting, it's challenging, but that you can be so motivated for, so that you're kind of going, I know I'm aiming towards that. It doesn't matter what gets in the way, I'm after it.
And so there's almost two approaches here. Maybe you're learning to become a fit pro, in which
Yep.
case your big, hairy, audacious goal is going to be very much geared around the outcome of qualifying and passing.
Studies, revision.
Or maybe you've already qualified, newly qualified, and you're kind of kick-starting, in which case your outcome is going to be, I'm going to say something to what you said, which really stuck out for me. It's a personal outcome in which your business helps you achieve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And then you might also have a business outcome as well, okay, which also aligns with your personal outcome. They can't be two separate ones. It would be like me saying, right, I've got a client that has got a wedding. A guy has got his wedding in October in 10 months' time. Okay, and he wants to get like nice, like decent muscles and really like,
Pop out from the shirt.
yeah, completely, and really trim, but at the same time 3 weeks before he's got an ultra marathon run and wants to be as quick as a, Roger Rabbit running whatever it is, road runner, and get the fastest time possible.
Yeah.
And now you've got, 2 conflicting goals. And then if I break down my process goals and go, now you've got to eat 5 fruit and veg a day. Well, the 5 fruit and veg a day doesn't get either goal in the grand scheme of things.
It has to all relate.
It all has to relate. So the process goal has to relate to the business outcome goal, and the business outcome goal has to relate to your personal outcome goal.
Nice.
And when they all align up, you're like, I am now motivated in spite of having no motivation.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm going after it.
So that's the question.
Yeah, what is your BHAG that you're going to go after in 2021? What are you going to make the thing? And use this as your way of articulating it and getting it out there. It doesn't have to be the most perfectly orchestrated goal in the world. Nobody is judging you on it. It's just your goal for you to articulate.
And the more you articulate it and the more people you tell, it's allowed to change. And the more people you tell, it allows you to articulate it differently and better every time. And over time, it will become this really clear, defined goal. And I think that's maybe why people find it hard again, just jumping back into this FitPro session. Okay,
as soon as we wrap it up.
Just as we wrap it up. But I think, I've said my goal, if I go back to some of my goals in, say, 2013, 14, as we said them to family and friends, and then it was like 3 or 4 months later, they said, how's it going? And it had slightly changed. And I remember they looked at me and you, as it with this kind of like unknowing look of like, they've changed their minds again.
They're not doing that now.
They're not doing it now.
But the overall outcome...
The outcome hadn't changed.
Still happened.
But the goal had started to morph into this thing that they didn't need the daily updates, but I did. And now, if they were to see me on the journey along that way, the goal is so, so clear.
Yes.
Every day I remind myself of this goal. Every day I sit on Google and look at the goal I'm after, and I'm after it. Like, bam, I'm after it. And if I was to remind some of the people along the journey of what it is, they'd be like, has he changed his mind again? But like, I haven't changed my mind. I've just become better.
And maybe the process has changed.
The process has changed, maybe, but I've become incredibly better.
Or better at articulating.
Articulating. How crap was that? I've become articulately better and I couldn't articulate it.
My articulation has improved.
My articulation has improved. But can you see my point? Yeah. And I think that's key.
Yeah.
And it's your goal. It's personal to you. And only you need to really value it. You need to commit to it. You need to be ready for it. It's no one else's goal.
And if you can't decide on a goal, don't worry about it. Just pick something, because it might morph a little bit. But until you start something, especially if you're super indecisive, until you just start on the path for something, then you don't really know what you do or don't want.
Well, I remember you had a coach from we went into a couple of Tony Robbins events, and we both got part of a program. We both got a number of coaching sessions from one of the Tony Robbins coaches.
Yeah, I remember.
I remember Danny, my coach, and I still in contact with him. He was wicked, like real dude. And I can't even put words to it, like how much he helped. But your coach helped you kind of bang your head against the wall, I'm going to say, of like, what is it I want? And it took you ages to be able to kind of like break through this indecision and knowing that indecision was a decision in its own right.
Yes, I was deciding to make no decision.
To make no decision. And then you made this decision and it morphed from there.
Yes.
So you had to make a decision to start. Well, it changed radically quite quickly from memory. Yeah. But you spent a number of months in this kind of like indecisive place, which was a decision in its own right. Whereas you could have unlocked that a lot sooner by just going, I'm just going to make a decision. I don't know if it's the right one.
Just going to go with that.
I'm just going to go with this and see how it feels. And it can change over time.
And it gives you that focus to be able to go, cool, I'm just going to get at that. Just going to work on that one thing. And then if I'm that focused on that one thing, I might find out more about what I do and don't like along the way.
Along the way, completely. So what do you need to do today? Who do you need to become?
I might find out I don't like pink elephants.
Yeah, completely. To get on top of the pink elephant and ride the pink elephant along this crazy roller coaster of a number of weeks or months ahead of us.
Yeah.
Because we can't act surprised when all these teachers sit tier systems change. We can't act surprised. We know it's going to happen. Yet for some reason, people are still like, oh, I didn't expect that. Or or what can I do now? What can't I do in this? Am I allowed to operate?
Or just rip up my goals.
I rip up my goals. Like, we can't act surprised anymore because it's been with us for 10 months.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do? Who do you need to become to make your goal so incredibly focused, laser-like focused of what's the outcome? What's the outcome here? What are you after? Why do you want it? When do you want it by? Are you a visual? Do you need to be able to feel it? Do you need to write it down? Do you need to make a, go and cut out a vision board? It doesn't matter your approach of what you believe to work or not work. You know what works for you. Go and do it.
Go and do it.
Is there any other questions on our notes so we could help them with the questions?
When they're diving deep. Well, you went into 5 questions deep already without probably highlighting that they were 5.
Cool.
But I can do that in a little bit more detail if you want as well.
Yes.
So whenever you're coming up with any specific goal, and this could be with your clients as well, is to turn around and go, cool, let's go 5 questions deep. So it's not just that surface level. So the first one is, what do you want? And that quite often gives you that surface level of, I just want to pass my exam or whatever it is. And then the second one is, why do you want it?
Why do you want it?
And sometimes that's deep, sometimes it's not very deep. Either way, you kind of get a response from it. So you think about, well, why do I want my big, hairy, audacious goal? Well, actually, maybe it's more of a future-based thing that you kind of got down the line.
But you could also ask the loved one, and we do this quite nicely. So I might say, I want to pass my exam with top marks. But I'm really finding it hard to figure out why I might want to do that. So then I could ask Hayley, if you were to pass your exam with top marks, why would you do it?
Nice.
Yeah, and so you can bounce ideas off of a loved one.
For pride, yes, you can
and they can give you, and I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, and you go, cool.
Like that.
Or they could even, the very act of I could say, Hayley, I want you to ask me this question. Why do you want to pass your exam? Because when I ask it to myself, it almost doesn't mean anything. But if you were to say now, Neale, why do you want to pass your exam?
Neale, why do you want to pass your exam?
Well, I would just feel this sense inside me of I did it for me.
Nice.
Write that down.
I did it for me.
I did it for me. Cool. Ask me the same question.
Prove to myself I knew the knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
Why do you want to learn? Blah, 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 pass your exam.
And I just keep going. And the very fact that somebody else is asking you the question, even it's coming, is gonna make a massive.
Easier than if you try and ask it yourself.
Yeah, completely.
Ask it and answer it yourself.
So the surface level question is, what do you want?
Then it's, why do you want it?
Why do you want it? Question 3.
3 is, how will you feel when you achieve it? So I like this. It takes you straight to the outcome and just puts you right in it. So rather than standing here now in present, looking forwards at your goal, it then takes you and go, how will you feel? You've almost got to pick yourself up, transport yourself all those years in advance and then sit back down.
I've actually got goosebumps.
Have you?
Whole body goosebumps. Yeah. Because
chicken skin.
Chicken. That's on another podcast. Anyway, because we're sitting in our back office in our house recording this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I rewind back to one of my outcome goals of 2010, we had a house fall through. Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Last minute, we were literally sitting on the driveway and the whole chain fell through and our house fell through. And I said to Hayley that day, we will get our house, okay, by a particular date, okay, before Hayley's 30 and I was 32, and we would move in and
with no chain, so it can't fall through.
With no chain, and it wouldn't fall through. And we did it. And I remember for days, weeks, months, years, I would look at houses and think about how I would feel sitting in particular rooms.
Yeah.
And it was 2016 when this house came up on the market. We looked at a number of others. We were ready to put some offers in, and this house came up as a wild card. It came back on the market as a last minute.
Yeah.
And I came to view this house without Hayley.
I was working.
And I put an offer in, and I knew the moment I stood in this room, I sat in every room.
You knew if it matched that same feeling.
I matched that same feeling. I was like, this is it. And I said to Hayley, we're putting the offer in. It's going to be ours. And here we are. We moved in within 3.5 months from putting the offer in on the house. And I knew, and I still get that same feeling in this house. And so that question 4 is, how are you going to feel
when you achieve it?
Fast forward to the outcome. Once you've achieved it, you've got your goal. Close your eyes and think, what will it feel like?
And it's also a really nice
Connect
way
with
of
your goal.
sort of untangling any BS goals that hang around
Yeah.
that don't have any feeling associated to it, where they're just kind of surface. They don't mean anything to you. You just plucked it because someone suggested that you should learn how to pull up. Like, it didn't mean anything, for example.
Which is why a number of goals, like weight loss on its own, doesn't mean anything. Why a pull-up on its own doesn't mean anything. But once you go 5 question deep of why do you want to do pull-ups? Why do you want to achieve 25 pull-ups? How are you going to feel when you achieve 25 pull-ups? What's 4th question?
Number 4 is what will change when you achieve it? So what's going to change? So again, you now pick yourself up, you've zoomed forward, you've said about the feeling, but what else has changed in your world? Does it change your relationship with other people? Has it changed your time, your lifestyle, your income, your quality of life? What changed as a result of you becoming that person?
Who do I need to become in order to pull this off to get that feeling?
Like with the weight loss one, this is where I find it really interesting. What else has changed? What else changes when you achieve it? It's like, well, now I'm a person that's got these habits, that doesn't feel guilty about certain food, that is able to like control weight, that can have fit in the clothes that I want to fit into, like
that manages calories on a daily or weekly basis, that drinks 5 litres of water every day, that limits, the number of caffeine or limits stress, that goes out for a run twice a week without even bothering whether or not it's raining outside.
Yes.
You can't do the same things and expect a different result. That's what Tony Robbins classed as insanity. If you're going to get your outcome and goal and pull this off, you've got to become a different person with a different routine, a different set of habits, and you've got to leave behind the old.
And I think that's actually the achievement of the goal, is that you've become that new person, not the shiny thing that happened as a result.
Maybe that's why a number of people don't achieve their goal, is because actually they're not willing or ready or committed, not necessarily to stay as they are, to give up the person they are, or give up the things that they really think they really want and enjoy, but don't align with the goal. So maybe, do they really want the goal? Is that a goal that they want? Is that a goal that's important to them? Is that a goal that they're ready for, they're committed for? Or are they ready, willing, committed, value, leaving behind some of where they are now in order to go and achieve a new goal?
Yeah. Number 5 is, when do you want to achieve this by?
Of
so
which
now you've
the
kind
pink
of got all
elephant
that.
might trample on.
Yeah, and there's got to be that flexibility, but still it's very different saying 1 day from now or 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So you want to kind of still have something to focus on so you can make stuff happen.
Yeah.
But the when is the final one.
So some goals,
So
like
5.
a running race, has a particular date with a start gun goes off. But some goals can be flexible with their date. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that because of this pink elephant that comes along and tramples everywhere, that just because the date moved, you go, well, I'm going to chuck in the towel now. I didn't want that goal anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. And I really want you to get hyper-focused. So you've got 5 questions, okay? What it is you want, why do you want it, how are you going to feel? Number 4.
What will change?
What will change when you get there? So what you're going to have, who you're going to be. And then number 5 is
when
do you want it
by?
by? You can't answer those questions. Send it in to the Inner Circle. The links are below. Send it in to us, info@parallel-coaching.com. And have a wicked day.
I want to see your BHAGs.
Your BHAGs. Completely. If you have enjoyed this episode, please go and drop a
5-star review on iTunes.
It's like we can just complete each other's sentences. It's really
go.
cool, isn't it? Because honestly, that really does help, because we don't get paid for this. We do it. It's a number of podcasts that enter like the top of the charts. They get sponsored. They get paid to do the podcast. This is all driven
adverts, just
from
good content
you
for you.
guys driving it. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, then please do hit subscribe so that you can get more.
There we go.
Every single week.
And next week was 4 parts. We probably should have said this at the beginning, but it was 4
it's quite
parts to
important,
this season, okay? And it's kind of all about kick-starting. I suppose this works incredibly close with season 2 of FITPRO Beginnings. So FITPRO Beginnings season 2, if you haven't gone there, it's all about kind of beginning your life as a FITPRO, kick-starting, answering common questions, getting past internal barriers and fears and imposter syndrome, and then kind of there's 4 principles in the final episode of getting going. And I think these next 4 episodes will link really nicely to that as well. So today's all about getting focused and getting that big, hairy, audacious goal. And next week, let's kind of give them a little bit of a future of where we're going to go.
developing as a FitPro. That's literally all I'm going to tell you.
Well, if you're going to hold it back as a secret, then all we can say is tune in next week, next Thursday, for episode 2, season 6, and there's a 4-part season. There we go. Outside of that, we will see you bright and breezy next time. See you later.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Neil Bergman.
And I'm Hayley Bergman. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands of fitness professionals to get qualified, learn with simplicity, and coach clients with confidence.
We're the first to say that learning and being a FitPro doesn't have to be hard work, and that with the right structure, support and resources, you can become a confident and knowledgeable fitness professional that is dedicated to more.
So how do you learn, qualify and kickstart as a FitPro? This is the FitPro Session Podcast with Parallel Coaching.